It is Friday again. Somebody say again. So welcome back to Cooking with Karen. Today I'm just going to do some basic fried fish. All right. We don't eat fried food that often, but every now and then my husband likes a nice piece of fried fish. So come on closer. You'll see I'm going to pour some grease here in the pan. Just enough to coat the bottom because fish is a thin meat. You really don't have to, do a lot in terms of cooking it. You put it in, you flip it over, and it's done. So I'm gonna get my flour. You'll notice the key to good seasoning is not to season the fish itself. I season my flour, my cracker meal, all those things. I season them. So this has been sitting in here marinating for about a month. And so the essence of the seasoning is already in my flour. So this is Zatarain's fish fry. Y'all remember my beautiful little utensils from Wegmans? These pans are absolutely wonderful. I use them for everything. And usually when I go to Wegmans and buy something, crab legs or whatever, I just save these containers and they come in very handy in the kitchen. So our grease is heating up. You want it to get hot, but not too hot because fish can burn pretty quickly. Like I said, it's a very thin meat. So what we have here tonight, look at that. Rainbow trout. Fresh rainbow trout. Isn't that pretty? So these are beautiful. I love orange. It's my favorite color. And these are from Eric and Shayna Harris for Clergy Appreciation Month. I just think it's so sweet. Aren't they pretty? They fit right in with my kitchen colors and right on the island. So our fish has been rinsed off. You always want to rinse your seafood off. And so here you see my beautiful net, and it is absolutely wonderful. It keeps grease from popping all over the place. So as I told you, my seasoning is already in the flour. This is Zatarain's fish fry. I seasoned it in advance. So you're gonna coat your fish. And that's a little too hot. We're gonna turn that down some. And I believe I can get 3 pieces in there at a time. So let's go on and do it. And once you have all 3 of them in there, go on and put your splash guard over it so that you don't get splashed on because that grease will splatter. This is again rainbow trout. Absolutely wonderful fish. Now I want you to see how quick fish cooks because watch this. You lift this up a little bit. Look at that. We're gonna let it sit a few more minutes. This is my husband's favorite fish, so I absolutely love fixing this for him. I just love the smile on his face when he realizes that that's what I fixed for dinner. All right, so watch this. We just put it in, correct? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Flip it one time. Last piece as well. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Cook a few more minutes. And as with any fried food, you're gonna have to drain it when it comes out of the pan. I think I showed you that in the video with the salmon croquettes. So you wanna make sure that once you take it out, you let it drain because you don't want all that grease in your stomach. Now I use peanut oil. Peanut oil is really healthy, but what I like about it is when you fry with peanut oil, most of the oil comes back out of your food. That's why I tend to use peanut oil. Let's take a peek. Pretty. Ooh, he's gonna love it. While they're cooking, you can go ahead Get your next pieces ready. I'm telling you, I love these little containers. Getting those nice and coated. So if you season your flour, you don't have to worry about putting seasoning on your meat. It's already in there. And guess what? It's done. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. That needs to get a little bit browner. I'll leave it in just for a few minutes. But I can go in and add my next two pieces. And I think we're good to go now. And then I'll take my last piece and I'll put my splatter guard back down again so that the grease is not popping everywhere. Look how pretty. And it tastes good too. All right, so we saw our first three pieces cooked. Let's see how these are done. Oh, pretty. This side must not get as hot as the middle and the other side. Look at that, isn't that pretty? So you get it to the edge and let it drain some before you put it on the paper. Put it on the paper towel, let your grease come out. Oh, pretty. And there you have rainbow trout. And of course, you know I'm going to garnish it. So to our pieces that have already drained, I'm going to add just a little parsley. Isn't that pretty? And it's ready to eat. Look at that. So that's your basic rainbow trout. Try it and enjoy. So here we're gonna fix your basic fried potatoes and onions. How many of you all remember eating those when we were growing up? So as you can see, I've already cut up my potatoes. And I like getting the small potatoes because you just have to slice them in half, a lot easier. And then of course, my love for onions is showing. So I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. And I'll let it get hot. Then I'm going to start adding the potatoes, and we're going to cook those first and then add in the onions, and it's going to be delicious. So we'll give it a few minutes. Oh yeah, that's good. So you take your potatoes, and the potatoes take a little longer to cook than the onions. That's why you put those in first. Give them a chance to cook down. Then you add your onions. And as I said, these were the baby potatoes. I just simply got them and sliced them after I washed them off. Just want to put a top on for a little bit. Let them cook down. We'll come back in a few minutes and we'll begin to stir them up and add the onions. Oh, listen at that. That's the sound of potatoes cooking. Oh yes. So you want to stir them up. And you want to make sure. See why some of them are getting brown. Some of them haven't really been touched that much. You also want to stir them so none of them are sticking to the bottom of the pan. So here, I'll add just a little more olive oil. Now at the same time they're frying, they are being steamed. Once the potatoes get soft, then we're going to add our onions. So we'll come back to them and hop over to something else in the meantime. All right, our potatoes are nice and cooked down. Look at that. Yeah. So now we're going to add our onions. I think that's probably enough. We're going to put the top on. Just let them steam down into the potatoes before we season them. Yum. Oh, this looks so good. So right now there's enough heat in this cast iron pan that I can literally put the top on and remove them from the burner. And the heat that's still in the pan is enough to go in and finish them off. We'll come back to them. All right, so our potatoes and onions are done. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So we have a nice pan of fried potatoes and onions. So of course we have to put a little seasoning on them. So we're gonna put some pepper. I gave up salt in lieu of pepper. And it really has been helpful for my diet. So every time I feel like eating salt, I throw in the pepper. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Ooh. And last but not least, we want to add, of course, some parsley. Can you tell I love parsley? I just really do. But look at that, isn't that pretty? Nice pan of fried potatoes and onions to go along with our fish. And guess what's in the oven to go along with them both? Hot corn muffins, yes. Now if you look close, I only made 6 because we don't eat a lot of bread and I don't want to waste. So in the containers where I didn't put muffin mix, I put water. That keeps your pan from getting burned up in the oven. All right, so we'll go on and close this up and the muffins will be ready shortly. There you have a nice tray of fish and fried potatoes and onions.